Hey, welcome back to Livin MN Outdoors. I'm Daniel, and thanks for tuning into this week's fishing report. Before we dive into the report, just a couple of things. Over on our Facebook profile, we are doing a giveaway for an LH custom rod and a PC Fun reel, so go on over there and get entered for that. Also, want to give a huge shout out to LH Custom Rods for sponsoring this week's fishing report. Go over, check out LH Custom Rods on Facebook or at their website at hoyamoutdoors.com. Now, diving into this week's fishing report, I'm going to cover the ice and snow conditions for all three lakes right off the bat. All three lakes are nearing that 30 inches of ice. If you're in a wheelhouse, a skid house, whatever it might be, even if you're in a portable, it's a good idea to bring an extension. If you're in a hard-sided house, make sure your extension is on. You're gonna need it to be able to get through the ice now. Now, as far as snow conditions, we did pick up a couple of inches of snow just as of late, but other than that, there is hardly any snow out on the lakes. At most, maybe 4 inches in spots, with bare spots showing in a lot of places. So with that, make sure you have your wheel skirts, your hole sleeves, whatever it might be to keep the draft out from underneath your wheelhouse. But with that being said, let's dive into this week's fishing report on Lake Winnie out of the Pines Resort on Tamarack Bay. Just an update on the owner, Chad. He is still in the hospital. He did break his back in a couple of spots, really messed up his shoulder. Sounds like he's going to be there for a few more weeks, possibly. So if you guys could keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Now, as far as the fishing goes, the fishing really seems to be kind of hit or miss. Some people are doing really good. Some people are struggling. In the bay, those deeper sand flats for both perch and walleye, that 18 to 24 feet of water seems to still be the best in the bay. Plain red hook, plain white hook, fat heads, rainbows. After dark, some shiners or small sucker minnows are working good for the walleyes, but the walleye and perch will both bite on those plain hooks with a fat head or a rainbow. Now, as far as jigging goes, for the perch, a smaller 1/16 or 1/8 ounce jigging spoon tipped with a minnow head or some wax worms is working. And then for the walleye, a 1/8 to 1/4 ounce pink and white seems to be working well. A glow pink is working as well. Tip that with a minnow head, and more than likely you are going to catch some nice walleyes. Now, the eel pout bite, especially if you're out a little bit deeper, that 20 to 32 foot of water, they're picking up some really nice eel pout. Primarily after dark. You can get a couple right around that late evening before it gets dark, but primarily after dark. Big glow spoons tipped with a minnow or a couple of minnow heads is working well. Fish them really low to bottom, pound it in the sand or the mud, and more than likely you will pick off a nice eel pout. Now, as far as the panfish bite goes, they are still catching some really nice bluegills up in the bay. 6 to 9 foot of water on the weed edges and the sand to weed mix. Small tungsten jigs with a waxworm or some Euro larva is working best, and there are some crappies up in there too, and a few of them are starting to be willing to bite. Now, if you're going to make your way out to the main lake, the bottom edges of the humps are working best out there. That 25 to 30 feet of water seems to be holding the majority of the walleye out there. They are still getting some perch over around mallard in that 24 to 30 feet as well. And just like in the bay, jigging spoons, plain red hooks, plain white hooks. You know what you got to do to get some of them fish to bite out on the main lake. Now, the Pines Resort, they have altered their restaurant hours just a little bit due to Chad being in the hospital, but they are still open. They do have cabins available, day houses, spear houses. Like I said, the full bar and restaurant there. So if you're looking to get up to Lake Winnie this coming weekend or in the future, go ahead and call the Pines Resort. Now, if you're looking to stay in a sleeper house up on Lake Winnie, Scott from zupsguideservice, he has several awesome houses out on the lake right now. They are on walleye and perch action. He does not have any weekend availability left, but he does have some weekday availability. So if you want to get up to Lake Winnie and enjoy some of the walleye and perch fishing it has to offer, go ahead and give Scott a call from zupsguideservice. All right, now moving over to Leech Lake out of Traders Bay, Acorn Hill Resort. They are really doing well on the perch bite out there right now, primarily finding those perch in that 16 to 22 foot of water on the mud. Now, best ways to catch them, like usual, guys, that plain red hook with a fat head is working best. Bring lots of fat heads because you're going to catch lots of perch right now. You can also get them jigging, either a small tungsten jig with a waxworm or some larvae, or a small jigging spoon tipped with a minnow head or some waxies is working as well. Now, as far as the walleye bite goes, the walleye bite has been a little bit slower out there. A lot of the guys searching Greg's Break Line, the Flooded Timber, Stony Point. I did talk to Kyle, and they are punching a new road out to Ottertail, which primarily is better walleye fishing. So if you're looking to get in on some of those walleyes, that is a good option. Now, as far as the best depths for the walleyes right now, 16 to 20 foot. They are still catching some off of Greg's Break Line. They are still getting some out by Stony and the Flooded Timber. It's just a little bit slower. Best ways to catch them is with a plain red hook or a glow red or pink jig tipped with a golden shiner or a small sucker minnow after dark. Now, as far as jigging goes, glow red, glow pink, those seem to be working best. It's primarily going to be a late evening and after dark bite. Tip that with a minnow head, and you might just get some of those beautiful Leech Lake walleyes to bite. Now, as far as the tulipy bite goes, there are still tons of tulipies in the bay, anywhere from 12 foot out to 24 foot. Doesn't really seem to matter where you set up. There is a huge influx of tulipies. Getting them on small jigging spoons, small tungsten jigs. Doesn't really seem to matter what you put down. You're going to come across some tulipies. Now, Acorn Hill Resort, they do have some sleeper houses available. They have day houses. I believe those are full for this weekend. They do offer guided perch trips. Not sure on availability for this weekend. They also have the Loaded Loon Bar and Grill, which has some amazing food, and an indoor swimming pool, and they do have showers for those of you staying out on the lake. So if you guys are looking to get up to Leech Lake this coming weekend or in the future, go ahead and call Kyle from Acorn Hill Resort. All right, now moving down to Mille Lacs Lake. The perch bite continues to be decent out on Mille Lacs Lake. You do have to put a little bit of work in. You got to know a little bit about what you're doing, and the bite does tend to be a little bit finicky, but there are some ways to get around that. Now, the best depths I've found is in that 24 to 33 feet of water. I will caution you, if you're going to fish out in that deep, deep water, that 28 to 33 foot of water, whatever you catch is going to die. I promise you that. It's going to die. Whatever perch you catch, if it's keepable size, please keep your limit of perch and then be done perch fishing. Continuing to fish, you're just killing those fish off, and there's really no sense in doing that. Now, best ways to catch the perch. Like I said, they are a little bit finicky. So we've been using 5mm Wonder Bread tungsten jigs tipped with anywhere from 2 to 5 red larvae. Now, you got to kind of predict when they're going to bite because the bite is extremely light. There are some good feeding windows early in the morning. There are some midday windows as well. But if you have an underwater camera, you can get around that. Drop your underwater camera down, get it so you can see your jig, and then watch when they come in. They'll suck your jig in. You'll never feel it, but you can see them suck it in, set the hook, and you're going to catch way more perch that way. Now, as far as the minnow bite, a lot of people are asking me, I want to go out and set out rattle reels for the perch. Probably not going to happen. The perch up there are not really feeding on minnows. Maybe some of the bay perch are down on the south end. But up on the north and east side, they're really not feeding on minnows right now. They're targeting those bugs, and it's really tough to get them to eat a minnow. Now, as far as the walleye bite goes, there are some walleyes mixed in out deep with the perch in that 24 to 32 foot of water. There's tons of little ones out there, so be really careful with them. Treat them good, get them back in the water, and there are some keepers mixed in as well. If you're looking to primarily target walleyes up there, though, I would say anywhere from 12 to 20 foot of water on the rocks. You're not going to go up there and catch probably 20, 30, 40 of them, but you're probably going to catch some real quality fish. Best ways to get them are pink, white glow spoons tipped with a minnow head, and then a plain red hook with a shiner or a small sucker minnow is working as well. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's fishing report. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you could, hit that like button. Leave us a comment down below. If you get out fishing, take some pictures. You can send them to us to our Gmail or on Facebook, and we will do our best to feature you in next week's fishing report. If you do make it out fishing, remember, be kind to other fishermen. Don't crowd your neighbor. Absolutely do not leave your trash out on the lake. And most importantly, don't forget to get on out there and get living.